Hi, I'm Empress Rose and welcome to our collective reading. So as I was setting up my cards and getting things ready, I was looking at my scrying ball and I saw like a monster, maybe a sloth. The eye was the most prominent part, is the most prominent part of this. So that's what I'm seeing there. I'm starting off with the Dreamscape Oracle cards and they are falling on the floor. So we have two that fell on the floor. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't, as usual. Well, this is fascinating because as I was shuffling the cards, see, this one got broken. It just kind of went snap right in the middle. I've never done that before with a card. And it's the memory card, a delicate memory. It's interesting too because I have my incense right here. She's waving her incense with a feather. And we'll pull from our feather deck later. Remembering something, a fond memory. I don't know, some wistfulness, some sort of nostalgia coming in here. Talking about a memory, but then we also have silence. So silence can talk about choosing to remain silent, choosing to, which I think we covered recently actually, choosing to remain silent. That's interesting phrasing there. The right to remain silent, the choice to remain silent. It can be about a memory that you haven't talked about, that you haven't spoken about. The silence card also just according to the deck and what is in the actual book there, it talks about meditation as well. So perhaps in meditation, you are having a memory, a nostalgia come forward, especially immediately after we leave our meditation. Some of our thoughts can be the most powerful and be very a direction for us or give us something. But it does look like, a memory or nostalgia, and there's a sense of silence around it. Maybe someone you don't speak to anymore, something you don't speak about. There's something about perhaps unusual hair here. I know that seems really funny, but I'm just looking at, maybe not so unusual, but we have like just really different, the same but different. There's a sensation of similarities and uniqueness. There's something taking place just in the mind here. It's very mind oriented. See, we've got the red hair, we've got the flowers, and the dark hair, we've got the skull. There's just some things. This is very much up in the head, in the mind energy right here. So let's see what happens next. What else we pull? Dreamweavers Oracle here. I love when they fall on the floor. There seems we have an agreement that they're very important when they fall on the floor. Although the way I'm shuffling right now, it's that they don't really have much choice in the setup I have going on today. All right, well, we'll take this one separately and then those three as a bunch. So weavers share their magic tea. So inspiration either coming from some other source, your cup being filled by by some sort of a higher source. This could be like hierarchies in work and that sort of thing, but sort of an inspiration or direction coming down from a higher place, either on the material plane, talking about work or even family, heritage. But there is inspiration, and your cup is being filled, and as you receive, so will you give. Like making sure that your cup is full, that your heart is full as you give. But yeah, I don't think you have to make sure. It's just coming in. There's a lot of flow here. There's a flow of ideas. There's a flow of inspiration. There's an overflow. So there's inspiration coming from a higher source, either, historically or but you're receiving inspiration, and from that there will be flow in this inspiration. It may come from a memory, You may not talk about it. It may come from meditation. It may be a higher, but this is talking about inspiration, when the weavers share their magic tea. Okay, these 3 puppies right here, let's call this a story. Ooh, wow, that's really cool. So in the middle of the bridge, and when you're neither here nor there. So being in the middle of something. And then when the storm spirits play, all of these 3 have a sense of meeting in the middle. And maybe with somebody that maybe there's an inspired idea of not necessarily reconciliation, but peace here. So when storm spirits play, this is don't be afraid to speak your mind. I want to say all God's creatures have a voice in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher. And there's a sense of, if you're not singing your true note, then and just going along to get along, then we don't really have a very good choir, do we? We have like a bunch of, there's no harmonizing, there's no, people aren't singing their unique part. You know, we've got a choir of only altos, which I'm sure you can do something with, but that's not really how we think about all of those different notes. So to me, this is, do not be afraid of conflict. Don't be afraid to step forward in conflict. Not creating conflict, but just knowing that as you speak up, as you say what you need to say, that you don't, saying what you need to say, which is interesting because we have the silence card here. Maybe it's something that you have been silent about, but saying what you need to say and not worrying about people pleasing or how other people are going to respond to it, but a willingness not an eagerness to engage in conflict, but a willingness to like have it if it comes up. Be genuine about the conflict. Be genuine about your needs, about the other person's needs. And hopefully everyone's being very genuine here, and we can have real constructive conflict and constructive resolution and constructive actual negotiations where you're coming in with what you actually think. So this is when the storm spirits play, it can actually physically talk about an actual storm, but it can also just be about being willing to go against the grain or to disagree with someone, you know, tactfully, of course. I'm a Libra, so I'm always diplomatically and tactfully. Actually, diplomatic is pretty much what I'm seeing here, but still like addressing something, but being diplomatic about it. So the middle of the bridge, you're a little bit right, they're a little bit right. I mean, maybe you're all the way right, but we're gonna be a little bit right. We're gonna meet somebody halfway. There's truth in both situations. There's truth. You're speaking your truth and they're speaking their truth. And there's a really strong balance and interchange between those. There might be a hallway here in which some sort of conflict may take place. It has spoken to me about actually a very physical, like, placement of something, like the physical place on a bridge, in a hallway, or in a corridor between 2 areas, and meeting someone in that area. And in the middle of the bridge is really being able to listen to someone else's point of view. So when we have storm spirits play, it's like, don't be afraid of conflict. Also, don't be afraid of listening to the other person's full point of view. You don't have to share it, but you can listen to it. You can hear them out. You need to be open to listen to hearing new information here. In some sort of conflict, there will be new information that's shared with you, and you need to be able to integrate that and listen to it. It sounds like in this conflict, and I'm kind of seeing it between 2 people, perhaps someone from the past that you haven't spoken to in a while, perhaps, but in this conflict, you hold within yourself. You are yourself. You're listening, but you are yourself. You're not being absorbed by the other person's truth or story or whatever, or ideas about you. You're your own entity. This other person is also their own entity. They're not being absorbed. But together, in maintaining your own entity, there's a wholeness that's happening as each person, not necessarily argumentatively maintaining their position, but as each person comes together in their unique way with their unique voice. There is some friction here. There is going to be some hot and cold, some friction, and that's not bad, but it does need to be like, each side needs to be listening and giving and taking. So meeting in the middle of the bridge, there's some give and take that needs to happen in some sort of argument or disagreement. And then when you're neither here nor there, this is so cool because it's the hallway card again. It's a different type of hallway, but it is the hallway card. It's we're not in this room and we're not in that room. We're somewhere in between them. So we haven't completed. And again, we have two people, but here they're delightfully interacting. Like here there's some conflict, here's some delightful interaction, here's this acknowledgement of the uniqueness and necessary uniqueness of each aspect here, and how they need to come together. But there's this hallway situation, you're neither here nor there, and kind of realizing like, hey, I'm not there yet, I'm not at that place yet, I'm not where I want to be, this relationship isn't where we want it to be, but we're on our way. There's like really good progress being made here in some sort of conflict, really great progress. You're on your way. You're not there yet, and you're not where you were, you're not who you once were, this relationship isn't what it once was, but it's also not reached the full potential yet, which is actually really cool. That means there's a lot of ways we can change things and shift things, but there is more potential here than where you're at. And there's a sense of playfulness and a sense of, I want to say, some juggling, some meeting. The energies are starting to combine really beautifully, but you don't need to rush ahead. There's a sense of beginner mind too. This could be like a situation in which it feels a really unsettling, and there are no conclusions that are reached here, but there is sort of an integration of information. There is a path forward. There is a path forward. You're learning a lot of information. There is a path forward here. There may be some issue or conflict. We're just talking about, it doesn't even have to be between two people. It could be about health and wellness. It could be about events in your life that are sort of there's upheaval here. You're learning a lot. You're integrating a lot of information. It's outside of you. You're learning from a source outside of you. This is not like, this had a lot of internal introspection, and this situation, these three cards here, and this one too, this is some sort of external, there's upheaval, but there's something very external that's helping you move forward, and you're integrating information that's coming from the external. So here's the external information. Could be a person, could be just information. It creates a lot of upheaval. You have to ask a lot of questions, learn a lot, and you're on your way somewhere, but you haven't learned everything in the period in which right now you're just at the beginning of learning a lot of things, but there's no completion here. There's just yeah, it sounds like information comes in. It's a little surprising. You need to ask a lot of questions, listen to what somebody else has to say, and realize that this there's a big to be continued. Back in the day, they used to have these like TV shows that would have like, there'd be episodics, but you weren't ever expecting them to continue. They were like sitcoms, and they wrapped up in 20 minutes, and everything was concluded and realized and understood in 20 minutes. But every so often they'd want to do something a little more lengthy. And so then there'd be like a big to be continued thing at the end. And I'm bringing that up because my sister and I, when we were little, we made up this song, and it was stupid. And it was to be continued, cha, 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 cha. And so we would just go around chanting that, to be continued, cha, 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 and dancing. And it's funny. But that's what I heard, to be continued, cha, 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 cha. So a lot of explanation for that. For some reason, I'm just like shuffling the tarot cards again. I'm going to break the deck here. From the bottom of the deck, the overall situation, 5 of Fire, conflict. Self-defense, conflict. This 5 of Fire is more intense than most 5 of Fires. Most 5 of Fires are like, yeah, we have a little like conflict. It's all in the words. It's so the bark is worse than the bite. We're just this is like somebody's that's got it coming from all sides. They've got a lot of perhaps competition, perhaps conflict. There's a sense of having to keep your cool, having to keep your cool in a stressful situation. I mean, with the fire spirits here too, I mean, storm spirits play, fire spirits, but when the storm spirits play, that's what that's reminding me of, like a scary situation, an upheavaling situation, a disruptive situation. There's a situation, it's taking a lot of focus and concentration, and you're not 100% sure. It's really important that you keep your cool. And there's conflict, so there's a sense of self-defense, and I think one of the best self-defenses here is keeping your cool. Past, oh, that's upside down. Okay, well, we'll just, I don't know what to do with that. I drew it already. And it was the wrong thing. But Six of Earth, some sort of balance, reciprocal. Actually, there's cards that where it's like this, where there's like give and take, and there's give. Oh, and look at this, the Six of Earth, which I don't know what to do with, but the yin yang here, the two sides, the light side, the dark side. It's reminding me of what's exposed, what's not exposed, what's understood, what's not understood, what remains in the dark. And the hummingbird, there's a lot of potent imagery in the Six of Earth. Give and take, karmic nature, taking turns. And yeah, there's just, these three cards all seem of a piece. The giving, the taking, right? The balancing of energies, the rebalancing of something. This is a very unbalanced energy, and the Six of Earth is rebalanced. So maybe you're in some sort of rebalancing process. There's a turn taking, right? There's in Six of Earth, there's generosity, everybody getting what they need. And maybe that's like a really big struggle right now to meet multiple different needs, multiple different things pulling at you. And there's a sense of needing to find some balance in that. And turn taking. Instead of everything coming at you at once, perhaps things... And it seems like just a lot of needs happening all at once. And some things are going to get exactly what they need, and other things are going to get what they need, but it's not going to be an immediate effect of that need being met. It's like the need is being met, it's just not really felt right now. And there's just a balancing of abundance. And some people reaping, some people sowing, some situation in which there is like receiving going on and reaping going on, and some situation in which is just the process is just beginning. Could be very physical, this Five of Fire with the Six of Earth. All right, well, let's move on to, let's make sure this is upright. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Okay, so the only major arcana we have here is the Hierophant, which is like official. Although this Hierophant comes in really differently. The way she does it in the Forhaxa tarot is really different. But the roots of something, the history of something, the lore of something, the expert, the official, having to go through an organization, some sort of expert and official or spiritual leader. It's giving hermit vibes, but because normally there's a lily of the valley here. Anyway, let's go more in order. There is one person here, 2 aces. We have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a large straight, people. A 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I feel like I'm about to start dancing. 5, 6, 7, 8. And 2 aces at the beginnings of something. This is really cool. So, all right, let us begin. Ace of Earth. So something beginning in real life, like a new job, a new something. You have already done this. Something has already started. You've already begun a project. You've already started something physically. It's not just the plans. It's not just the idea of something. It's like you bought the materials. You started the job. You got the new. There's a new job or a new, I want to say new job, but what do we have here? Fire, water, earth. We don't have any swords, so maybe not a lot of talking, but a little bit of earth here. There's a lot of everything here. So Ace of Earth, something new, maybe a new relationship, maybe a new project, something actually that you've already started. You've already started this thing. It's not, you're not starting it now. It's something that you've already sort of put pen to paper or got the ball rolling on it. It's not just a theory. It's not just inspiration, but there's physical movement here. Current situation, we have the Hierophant card here. So this card is really interesting. It's like you're thinking about this new beginning, because Lily of the Valley to me is a new beginning card, because is a new beginning flower. It's where I grew up, it was the first flower in spring. It usually came up sometime in February, and I knew all the little, like I had a couple miles where I'd ride my bike. I grew up in the country, and I knew all the little patches of lily of the valley out there. So alongside the road. And so it was always very exciting. I mean, now where I live, like spring happens way later, but that would be in February, early February. So there could be something about that. We have the stag. So there's always a sense of leadership with Hierophant. And there's a sense of process, but it looks like you are contemplating this new beginning. You're thinking a lot about it, and it's got roots. It's tapped into something very deep. Whatever you're seeing on the surface has a lot of depth to it. So this could be a person, this could be you, this could be somebody else. But this new beginning has some very serious roots. It has depth. It's not going anywhere. It is very solid, secure. And the Hierophant has that earth energy to it. It's got sort of a combination of fire, wand energy, and earth energy. It's where those two meet sort of in a person, this inspiration, but it's very earthly. So the Hierophant can be like where our high priestess is the spiritual information and spiritual awakening. The Hierophant is the organization around it, the roots, the very physical aspects of this inspiration. So like it can often be like a church, an organization, a charitable organization, but there's leadership here. It can be teaching, it can be educational organization. Sometimes the organization takes over the inspiration and we end up with the inspiration being thrown out and just the organization and the buildings and the money staying there. This Hierophant, though, has the security, has the buildings, but then within this whole huge structure, I want to say this behemoth organization is this new beginning. It's already begun and you're already contemplating it. See, ooh, that fell on the floor. Geez Louise, stay in my hand there, slippery. So the new beginning, and here contemplating the new beginning, we have roots. These are some delicate roots we just started. And here in both of these, you're looking at something that's coming up. Something is coming to flower. Here we have it just budding. Here we have it actually flowering, but it's just the first flowers of spring. It's not the whole summer. It's not the whole thing. It's just some of the very first flowers. There is perhaps an organization here that is looking at, the first fruits in a way. is what this looks like. There's leadership. If you are encountering leadership, it's very much in the background. It's very much a shadow leadership. You're not interacting directly with a leader of an organization or something like that. They're in the background, they're there. They are also inspecting the new beginning or looking at that, but they're not, if there is leadership involved here, they're not directly there. They're not in the present moment, but there's a lot being seen and being revealed here and being understood, that there is so much under the surface. There's so much background behind that situation. Your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, elder of earth, and more roots here. And again, this combination, elder of earth, this is king of earth, king of coins. This can be sugar daddy vibes. This can be just, that's just such a crude way of putting that, but somebody with a lot of resources. And so maybe you're wanting to be the person with a lot of resources. You might be showing up as the person with a lot of depth, a lot of background, a lot of resources. It could be somebody else though. It could be this leadership vibe that's coming into this Hierophant, and you're thinking about this person. You're hopeful that perhaps somebody here has this, but again, this card in particular has a sense of fire. But instead of fire in the palms of her hands, instead of energy, she's got roots. It's just so real. This whole top row, the Ace of Earth, the Hierophant, the Elder of Earth, this is very physical, very real, deep, deep roots here to nourish. There's, I want to say, like deep pockets here, deep investment, prior investment, long-term prior investment. The Hierophant and the Elder of Earth, to me, they can be there's a lot of overlap, and just with these roots just so present here, there's just a lot of depth here. And it's the combination of fire and earth, as we started out, the combination of inspiration and physicality, as we started out with, and just this yin yang, that they're two incredibly opposite signifiers. The wands, the fire, the earth, they're very opposite. One is so grounded and one is so spiritual, and it's the as above, so below. It's the inspiration and the physical movement. And we just have such a beautiful combination. And I just love that these came out at the beginning, telling us that there was going to be this combination 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. There's just this beautiful combination of inspiration and physicality here, and that's represented throughout, and the Hierophant coming in here to combine those and really emphasize. And then this Elder of Earth with the roots in her hands almost coming up like fire. There's just this really gorgeous connection between inspiration and the physical world around you. It's so solid. There's so much behind it, and there's some sort of very deep roots here. It's a very secure inspiration. It's coming from a place that's very secure and very solid. So this isn't if you are inspired, when Spirit says move right now, because there is this inspiration and maybe even some sort of trickle down. I mean, I'm not really a believer in trickle down economics, simply because the research isn't there to support it, but there is some sort of trickling down of something. Resources are here, resources are available. Yeah. So what's at issue here? 7 of water. This is not seeing the obvious choice, maybe being lost in an intellectual process. In the upright, we have someone that's got a bunch of options and is picking the most intuitive one, or the one that seems clearest to them. There's a lot of intuition in this. There's a lot of emotion, and it can often be taking an intellectual process to an emotional situation, where you really need to be letting your intuition make the choice. But in the reverse, you're not letting, there's a lack of intuition here, or there's not a clear choice. There's not a clear decision to be made. Maybe there could be a lack of options. not really seeing options, not really knowing how to move towards those options. It can be like a mini lover's card, which I think we got last week too, just sort of like smaller scale, but similar idea of like weighing options and going with the one that's most intuitive. But in the reverse, there's almost a sense of like either not seeing options, not seeing the options, not seeing, maybe making unconscious choices, making unconscious decisions about something, not really being aware of the ramifications of your decisions and choices. Maybe feeling under the gun, maybe not looking into other options and other choices. You know, this could be maybe not getting the second opinion, not getting, and that's an issue here, is not, like, especially if we have this very solid organization and this person that's having a lot of leadership, power, and sway here. I forget where I was going there, so that means I shouldn't. Yeah, there's just a sense of maybe not knowing what to do, maybe not seeing the clear choice, and perhaps you're not seeing the clear choice because you haven't explored options here. Especially with especially with this other leadership, maybe you're not exploring your own options because someone else is sort of has a lot of control and has a lot of background in something. So that's like somebody, you're not looking at options. You're not exploring options. And sometimes that's not very important, and sometimes that's really important, but it's coming up as an issue here as not like fully exploring the options, not doing your due diligence. Even if you go with, you know, your intuition in the end, there's also the sense of like needing to do your due diligence as far as like looking at options and looking at different ways you can do something, and at least looking at them and analyzing them. So that doesn't appear to be happening right now. Whether that can't happen, whether there's not an option for that to happen, or whether you're not taking the option to really thoroughly explore what other options are there here. And maybe someone's not presenting all the options. Maybe there aren't any other options either. So, but you need to do some exploring. You would want to do some exploring in order to make sure that there aren't other options. You may not have time for that. I don't know. Ace of Water, somebody is, this is the beginning of a new relationship. This is somebody in your environment, a new relationship. This can be new healing coming in, a new sense of peace. A new emotional journey, a new relationship. The overall feeling here in the environment is there is a sense of peace and there is a promise. There's an opening for something to come in, for emotional. This is your environment. This is water. This is emotion. This is the beginning of an emotional. Maybe there's a sense of discovery. There is this healing coming in here. There is this water is just coming in with so much healing, with a sense of security, a sense of peace. I mean, it could be new to a situation. It could be somebody else having a sense of peace and security. The situation itself could be bringing in some healing, I just see so much like peace and security in the environment. And they're just a strong healing. I mean, Ace of Water typically talks about like a new relationship or something like that, but a message. This could be perhaps a message of peace, a message, a balm to your soul, a balm to your heart, some sort of message that somebody else has, that someone's coming in with, that is soothing. There's a very soothing energy here. I want to say like a balm. It very much feels like a soothing energy for all this fire here, and an ointment. There's an ointment or something here that's very peaceful. Yeah, we got some good and the bad here for sure. Some good, you know, we got the yin and the yang here. And then we have a 9 of fire, your to-do list. Keep going, keep fighting, you tired little warrior, you. Keep going though. Now's not the time to stop. There, you may feel wounded, you may feel weary, and there's again as these feathers here coming in that we had somewhere at the beginning here. This feather of memory. Keep going. Stay strong. You may want to go home. You may want to quit. You may want to stop. I mean, definitely there's some difficult energies here with this fire, you know. It's very physical. This battle is very physical, it feels like, with the pentacles here or the earth here. There's something getting rebalanced. But this 9 of fire is just like, keep going, keep going, keep doing the thing, keep fighting, keep going forward, keep moving, keep defending yourself if need be. This is not the resting place. This is not, well, and that's what we got here, but this comes in with a lot more urgency. This isn't where you're stopping. Don't stop in the middle of the hallway. Keep going. Don't stop in the middle of the hallway. Don't stop in the middle of the bridge. You have to keep going. So it might actually be an event or like a situation in which you're not to put your guard down. You need to keep going. You need to keep moving forward towards something. You need to keep fighting. It's the wounded warrior, 9 of fire. You're still in the battle. You can't go home. You haven't been discharged. You have to keep going. You have to keep moving. And it's starting to feel very difficult and maybe unfair, but this is not a resting place. This is not where you stop. Do not stop here. You may be sick of this. You may be tired of some kind of conflict. You may be tired of fighting for your right to party. You may be tired of this all. You may be tired of a certain situation. You may be just exhausted, but do not give up and do not quit. It's very important, even if you get very tired. I mean, I'm a big fan of napping and stuff, but I'm not seeing a nap time here. I'm seeing like you have to keep going. You have to keep going on. You're not there yet. You're learning a lot. There's some good here. There's some bad here. But this situation, you have to keep going. It's being rebalanced. So maybe you're in the difficult part. But balance is being restored. But right now you have to, like, we start off with this fighting for your life, fighting for a struggle, and this is and you got to keep on keeping on. You can't stop. Then we have possible outcome, 8 of fire, a lot of communication. So you may be very tired of something. You need to show up and you need to keep showing up. Communication is coming in. Clarity is coming in. I think that we're talking about, like, what's interesting is we start out in silence. I think there's something you don't know. And that information is coming in. So you need to keep going. If you got to get this information, you got to get to the part where this all comes in. There's very direct, very clear, in this 8 of fire, very direct, very clear information coming in. It is very focused. It has a lot of focus. So like if you have a meeting or something coming up and you don't want to go to it, you need to go to it because there's really important information there. And it's very clear, very directed, impassioned information in this place where you don't necessarily feel like going or you might be very tired, but you need to keep going, because in order to find out the things that you need to find out about maybe something that happened in the past, or maybe something that's happening currently. I mean, these are just the most opposite cards I can possibly imagine. This silence and then this communication. So the communication is going to open up, but you have to keep going, and you can't give up, and you can't quit. And these feathers are really important. There's some really important. So we're going to get to the feathers in a second. So we're going to. These always end up way longer than I intend them to. I don't know. All right. So from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, I think we're going to take that one. Any more volunteers? Any volunteers? Okay, that's the one. Oh, we got two anyway, so. Oh, cool. Bat Spirit, a rebirth is assured. So we have you tired, we have you struggling, we have you fighting to the end. But a rebirth is assured. Seeing things from a different perspective. A different way of knowing. I really like this. Really love this. I feel very emotional looking at it. A rebirth is assured after all this fight. There's renewal here. And then Turtle Spirit, slow and steady wins the race. Our turtle, which shows up about every other week here from different decks. Slow and steady wins the race. I feel like we have night. You know, this is like the dark night of the soul, very long night. You know, in this forest, moving forward. And I feel like this is our fire, and this we have some water here too, some soothing. But slow and steady wins the race. So keep going. The pace is not fast here. Okay, with all this fire energy, it was kind of looking like it, but slow and steady wins the race. Keep going, keep plodding along, keep doing the thing that you're doing, keep fighting for it. Information is coming in, but no need to rush ahead. We're not going to waste our energy rushing towards, you know, the end, the finish line. We're only halfway there, so we got to pace ourselves. Yeah, I think that's basically like pace yourself. More information is coming. Keep moving forward. Oh, wait, I don't do these like this. Okay. And our feather from the feather deck. And we have plenty of feathers, so I'm definitely paying close attention to this feather. It's a black feather, because it is from Blackbird. Did we already get Blackbird? I think, I mean, my goodness, there's, how many are there? Well, there's a lot of feathers here. So Blackbird, the magical and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. And we have, well, we have a crow here. We have some blackbirds. But all throughout this, my attention has been drawn to these feathers. So this is really the magical and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. And maybe this is why you're like, you have to continue moving forward. Maybe you don't have a choice but to keep going and to keep moving forward. Or you certainly don't see a choice. And I don't see anything here arguing with that. So in some matter in which you're having to continue to fight, to hold space for yourself, to hold your ground. This whole process is perhaps like opening you up and pushing you beyond your boundaries, pushing you beyond what you thought you could do. You know, we don't need to willingly do that. Life will push us for us. We don't need to force ourselves to push ourselves. But there's untapped potential, and you need to just keep going. It could be just a situation in which you're not feeling up to it, but you need to keep going. And you're tapping into something that you've never tapped into before, as being pushed to your limit and beyond, and realizing your full capacity in this way. Boy, does this sound fun. You're not there yet. So keep going. Information's coming in. And then the blackbird, I love the affirmations here. So we're going to do this affirmation. Say it with me now. I embrace and open to the mystery and magic in life. All right. So that's our mantra for the week. I embrace and open to the mystery and magic in life. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for joining me again this week. I very much appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous week. Bye.